When I recently had my BRZ at the dealership to replace several pulleys, they discovered an oil leak, and in order to address it, they had to replace the timing cover. Now, when I recently installed my oil cooler, I found a chunk of RTV in it. This is definitely strange. When I removed the oil filter, you can see it looks like there's a little bit of RTV inside of it. So I don't know if that's from previous work that was done on this engine or what, but it's a good thing. When I found that RTV, I remembered an article I was reading a couple years back in which people were taking their Scion FrS and Toyota 86s to get repaired under warranty, and there were technicians that weren't properly applying RTV around the edge of the timing cover, and that RTV was getting into the oil system and causing engine failure. So what I'm going to do is remove the oil filter and autopsy it to find out just how contaminated my oil system is right now. Was it just that single piece of RTV, or is there more that's been floating around in the oil system since I had the timing cover replaced? Usually when I autopsy an oil filter, I use a pair of tin snips and cut around this bottom lip here. But with this Subaru filter, it was very thick metal, and it's built to withstand some tin snips. So I ended up going through what would be the top of the oil filter, puncturing a hole there, and then just using the tin snips and going around it. And that part wasn't as reinforced as the bottom of the filter. So with that, you'll be able to take out your filter and then remove this top piece here, and then we'll spread out the pleats and take a look. With a pair of pliers, I bent back this metal piece on top and also the metal piece on the bottom. Then I was able to use my snips and cut up one length of the pleats, and then I was able to start unraveling the oil filter itself. And what we're primarily concerned with is looking at in between the pleats towards the outside of the filter. So this would be the inside of the filter, but all the contaminants and particles should have been trapped on the outside of it. And it may not show up so great in here, but there are little bits of gray RTV. So at this point, I've taken about half of the oil filter apart. I think I'm going to leave the rest of it to drop off at the Subaru dealership when I take my car in there. This way, if they want to take it apart themselves, they can see it and they can't claim that it's been disturbed. So I'm going to put that in a Ziploc bag. Looking at the portions I've taken apart so far, you can definitely see all the RTV in there. Some chunks are definitely bigger than others. But in just about every pleat, you do see the gray sealant. And it's been just over 1,000 miles since the repair was done. I'm glad that I'm catching this now and that I can take it back to the shop and have it documented there. And I'll show you, this is the chunk that I initially found in the old oil filter when I was putting on my oil cooler. I got it next to a dime so you can see just for scale. So that's what initially led me to conduct my own investigation. See, okay, is this just one chunk that's randomly floating around in the oil system, or do I have a bigger issue? So make sure I bag everything up and explain it when I drop it back off. I like to pre-oil my filters before installing them. So I'll add oil and let the pleats inside of the filter absorb it. And it may take probably 2 times filling it up in order for the filter to absorb all the oil. So you give it a little bit of time, let the filter absorb the oil, and then make sure you put a fresh coat of oil over that rubber gasket.